In this video, I'm going to continue summarizing the quest lore in the port city of Ratchet. Now, this video is part 2 of a series, so if you missed the first episode, then go ahead and click this link right over here. But if you're all caught up, then let's go ahead and jump in and find out what's going on in World of Warcraft. Once you get to the island, you kill 8 of the cutthroats. Then you head into the building to the south. And this is when you meet up with Tony Two Tusk. He says that he'll do the mutiny as long as money's involved, which there really isn't any at the moment. So Tony wants you to take out Captain Garvey's treasure guard named Glomp, just right outside of this building here. From there you can get Garvey's treasure, which will most likely pay off the men needed for the mutiny. So now you head outside, kill Glomp and take the treasure. Then you report back to Tony. He says that this money will go a long way to win over the hearts and minds of the cutthroats. And now he says that it's time to get some power. And Captain Garvey has claimed all of the best firepower for himself. Mostly heavy dwarven flintlocks. So Tony here wants you to grab 6 of the heavy dwarven rifles, which he'll then use to distribute to his future officers. So you head into the other building, gather the rifles, and actually kill Captain Garvey and his men while you're at it. Plus you take his head as proof of his death. Then you head back to Tony. Now here you think that the mutiny is done because, Captain Garvey's dead. But there's a bit more to that. Tony says that now that they have the rifles, they're able to do the mutiny in full effect. And that involves killing a lot of people that need to go. Captain Garvey was obviously one of them, but anchored to the east of here is the flagship of his fleet, which is the Maiden's Dagger. And Captain Garvey left his most trusted officer in charge of that ship, whose name is Alicia Cuthbert. So once you take her out, then Tony can take charge of the entire crew, along with all of the ships. So once you head out to the Maiden's Dagger, blow the horn that Tony gives you, which will signal his men to attack. Now you head out and run up to the Maiden's Dagger. Once there, you blow the horn and sure enough, Tony's men arrive. You then head downstairs and confront Alicia Cuthbert. After she's dead, Tony takes command, telling you to tell Dizzywig that he's open to negotiations. Now you head away from the ship and head out from Frey Island, making your way over to find Baron Longshore. He laughs knowing that Gazlo's stuff is buried somewhere, and says that he now has something to bargain with. Longshore says that he's bound for the gallows, and that's a given, he's gonna die. But if you break his chains, then he'll tell you where he buried Gazlo's treasure. So you trust him, and you break his cuffs off. And luckily, a deal's a deal with this guy. He tells you that in order to keep the treasure safe, the map was tattooed on his first mate's scalp. Well, he's dead now, and his head is hanging at the entrance of the camp on a tree. So if you can get it, then bring it back to Gazlo so that he can get his stuff. As for Longshore, he says that he'll murder his way out of here soon enough. So now you make your way back to the entrance. And when you get there, sure enough, there's a severed head hanging from a tree, which you grab because it's actually quite valuable right now. Then you head back into Ratchet to start turning in all of these quests. When you arrive, you speak with Captain Thalathos Brightsun and hand him the medallions that you got from the Marines and shipmates and the commandos. He's really happy that you made a dent in the Rear Admiral's ranks, especially knowing that 2 of his main lieutenants are now dead. Definitely this will weaken their forces quite a bit. Now you run up to Gazrog and hand him the stolen silver that you recovered. He's blown away that the Raptors were the one that stole the stuff, and says that maybe they're as intelligent as people say they are. In the end, he gives you a fair share of cash as a reward for everything that you've done. Next, you run up to Mebok Mizirix and hand him the horn of King Reaper Claw, which he makes something called Raptor Punch out of it, and he gives you some for your journeys. But in the end, even after trying out his own concoction, it doesn't really taste that great. From here, you run up to Wharf Master Dizzywig, and he says that Gazlo will now reward him, most likely through that promotion that he wanted. And this is gonna happen because you killed all those cutthroats on Frey Island. Looks like he's just another person that's profiting from your work. He also notices that the Maiden's Dagger is now floating out to sea, and seems to be happy that Tony Two Tusk is now running the show. Now you run up to Gazlo and turn in the head of Captain Garvey, which he ends up talking about how all of these pirates are just looking out for their own, and wonders if anyone will come looking to avenge Garvey because he's dead now. You also turn in the schematics that you got from Engineer Foot, and after looking at them, Gazlo finds out that the flagship is called the Bellipotent, and wonders what it'll take to sink her. As for the severed head with the map tattooed on it, he's not too happy that you brought it back. I think he was more expecting like a piece of paper or something, who knows. So now Gazlo reviews the plans for the flagship and notices that the thinnest part is where the crankshaft meets the paddle wheel. So he wants you to place a limpet mine right on that spot, because it's also conveniently located right where the magazine is inside of the ship. So once you've placed the mine, contact Gazlo through a stolen gnome coder that he gives you, and then you can start blowing things up. Also, while you're out there, Gazlo wants you to get the treasure that the Baron hid. From the looks of the map that was tattooed on the head, the treasure is located on the bluffs over Ratchet to the south, right next to a tree overlooking the bay. So now you head out and make your way to the top of the hill overlooking the bay. Once you get there, you begin to loot the treasure, only to be stopped by none other than Baron Longshore, who says that he promised to tell you where the treasure was but never said anything about you being able to keep it. So you both duel to the death, in which you win, making the treasure yours to gather, or rather turn back into Gazlo. Now you head out to the Bellipotent, which is the flagship that you're trying to sink. Once you get there, you plant the mine on the bottom, contact Gazlo, and blow it up. Gazlo takes a look at the ship through his telescope, and he's a bit upset because the ship is still floating, which means that Rear Admiral Hartley must have moved the ammunitions off the ship and onto the shore, just in case the ship was bombed, which it was. So now Gazlo wants you to take out 5 of the ammunition stockpiles along the coast. That way Hartley will be landlocked and unarmed while the Bellipotent is being repaired. So now you head out and blow up 5 of the ammunition piles in the area. Then you head back to Ratchet to speak with Gazlo. You hand him the treasure that the Baron stole, and he gives you a small cut. A very small cut. As for blowing up the ammunition, Gazlo is really happy knowing that the Alliance will never be able to find out who actually did it. Or rather, trace it back to Gazlo himself. But for now, it's back to business. You know, smuggling, double dealing, price gouging, the stuff that goblins do. And with that, you complete the 5th chapter in the Northern Barrens quest line. That was an insanely long chapter. I feel like these chapters are gonna get longer and longer, and I hope not, because I want to keep these episodes 1 per chapter. But if needs be, I will have to split them up, and I have no problem doing that. Time is short, and we really don't have a lot of it, but we have plenty of quests to get through. So having said that, I'm really excited for the next episode. I also want to give a shout out to the Patreon members for supporting this channel. Your donations help in making each production better and better, and I can't thank you enough. Again, if you'd like to help out with the channel, then go ahead and check out the Patreon link down below. And with that, we'll see you next time when we find out what happens next in the Tales of Azeroth. Along with gathering 10...